Hello guys. Welcome replay viewers. Welcome live viewers. Hi. I am just going to, playing with the tripod. Normally I do that right away, but hello Jessica. All right, I am going to, hello, Shelly is in here, and Amanda. Nadine, hello. Vicky, you're here again. All right, let me shut that down. All right. Karen, I think the lighting actually is fine. I was gonna go play with it. So, I have almost done 200 scopes, and I finally feel comfortable enough to maybe just do a question and answer. So, the dentist office. Ugh, I'm sorry. Hi everyone. Who have I missed? Lori, I'm glad you caught me live. I know it's on and off. It's not 200 yet. I just mean it has taken this many for me to feel comfortable enough to just chat with Periscope. I always liked to have a plan, and I have no plan. This is just me and my cup of tea. I'm going to show you my cup. My husband made this. He is a potter. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad I'm chatting too. I'm going to give it a try. Oh, my Old Navy sweater. That is from a few years ago. So I'm also doing this, the Scoper chat. So, high school. Michelle, you jumped in here and brought up high school. I don't know if I can chat high school. Maybe everyone else can chat high school. Okay, many kids for us. Is it K? Just K with an E on the end. I'm just not sure if you pronounce it differently or, Kelly wants to chat high school too. I don't have a high schooler. My oldest is 13 and I am just as scared and confused and overwhelmed as everybody else who is about to do that. But we have an expert here. Many kids for us. That is Kathleen. Kathleen has a high schooler. So you can follow Kathleen. I just did. And maybe Kathleen will scope about her wisdom. I am actually going to attend a transcript class soon. Okay, as your oldest gets older, do you find your local homeschoolers start disappearing? Okay, that's a good question. Thanks, Kelly. Real quick, because there are some new people in here. I am Mary, and this is my blog address, which I'm trying to keep updating and stay more on top of, but Periscope is a lot easier for me and more fun. I mean, who wants to do a Q&A on a blog? So much more fun to hop on here. But that's where you can find me, and you can find me on Facebook as Not Before 7 also. I have 4 kids. They are 13, 11, 9, and 6, and we have been homeschooling. Kiel is here. Yay! I haven't seen you in a long time, Kiel, except on other people's scopes together. We've been homeschooling from the beginning, so this is my 8th year, if you start counting from when my oldest was in kindergarten. So do I find that homeschool groups start to diminish? I definitely felt that way more in Maryland because a lot of people are very resistant. Jamie, a lot of people are resistant to the idea of high school. So I feel like as I was approaching high school, as I was meeting people, a lot of people were putting their kids in high school. So the group was getting significantly smaller. Where I have moved in North Carolina seems to be a national anomaly. The percentage of homeschoolers here in Wake County in Raleigh is 8.6%, which is like double the national average in this county. Unreal amount of support and people going going the whole distance with it. So yeah, North Carolina homeschoolers, it's huge. So there are classes for high schoolers. There are so many people offering things. I am finding that my daughter's core group of friends will all be homeschooled through high schooler. So yes, join us, Nadine. Everyone come to Raleigh. We'll make this our Brave Writer commune. So for me, yeah, I do think that's true in general. I just feel a little protected from that. It is pretty easy here, Kiel. The difference between Maryland and here is here in Raleigh, the kids, you're supposed to keep attendance, but no one checks on it. No one asks for it, but you are supposed to print out a little sheet and check off your 180 days, which I may or may not do. But if I'm ever asked for it, it will be produced. And your kids are supposed to take a standardized test each year. You don't submit the scores to anyone, and you just have to file them in case. So my kids take the online CAT, and that's what they do every year. It's pretty quick and easy. We did the Stanford 10 for a while, but okay, there you go. It's not required. And I do think that in the law, it's all recommended. So I'm kind of following the recommendations. I do go ahead and take the standardized tests. It's good experience for the kids, but really I pay very little attention, give very little credence to it. A lot of people here do, oh, that's a good question. A lot of people here do the Woodcock-Johnson, which is given 101. And I think if you're trying to get a good sense of your kids and you want to pay attention to the results, that's a really great test to do. So I kept this Scoper chat up here today so that I could see questions that I'm missing because the comments start flying. So if you see me look to the left, it's because I'm trying to follow the conversation where I somehow got lost. So Joanna just asked the toughest year or time homeschooling and what helped you push through. Honestly, anytime you have a kid 3 or under, I think for me so far has been the toughest time. In terms of energy and ability to do anything without someone pitching a fit or climbing on top of the refrigerator. Yeah, I have a picture of that day that Daniel pulled a chair up and then put a stool on top of it and climbed on top of the refrigerator while I was doing school in the other room. How did I push through? You just kind of have to go with the flow. And we got out a lot. In fact, whenever I had a napper in the house, we almost left our house every morning. We would walk around the mall. We would go to a park. We would go to a friend's house. We would just play out front. Oh my gosh. That's horrifying. I laugh because I can totally imagine it. So how I push through is, oh my gosh, yeah, Michelle knows. See, my friend from Maryland's commenting bagel bin. She knows I went to the bagel bin like once a week. And I would use the afternoon nap time to get some things done. And we just, luckily, because I have my kids close together, while that's overwhelming in its own way, my oldest child was only like 7 or 8. So it wasn't like we were in the middle of hardcore schooling. We just needed time to read some great books and get a little math and handwriting done. So, but those were the hardest times. They're lonely. You're new to everything. I had this baby. I kept having another baby. And I just remember one year saying to my husband, oh my gosh, this year is so easy. And he was like, you're not pregnant. And the next year I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so much easier. And he's like, yeah, you don't have a 3-year-old. So anyway, I think that's how I just push through support and just getting out and readjusting. I have missed a lot of questions, so I'm going to scroll back here and, I saw some good ones. Oh, all the people who found their kids on the roof. That is great. Do I have a typical length of a homeschool day? That's a really good question. I don't. I try to be done everything. Seat work, any group activities, by 2:30. So that's kind of, I've started to realize my kids really treasure their afternoon from like 2:30 to dinner to play with the neighborhood kids. and to do their own thing. So I have tried to convince them that from the time they wake up till 2:30 is school time. They're not always doing school in there, but I don't want to hear a whole lot of complaining about, but I want to go do this or I want to go do that. So until 2:30, I ask them to just focus on you're here doing school. Now, during that time, sometimes we play outside, sometimes we go somewhere. Like today we went to Duck Donuts. That was on school time. So that's not sitting and doing school. Each of my kids probably can get all their seat work done in approximately, my younger 3 elementary schoolers can do it in under an hour. My middle schooler, it probably takes her an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours if we have some writing to do. So that's about it. And then in the afternoon, we've been doing reading out loud. That's when we read our science or we do history or projects or any extras I want to do. Right now, I, due to Periscope, have been really rejuvenated in reading out loud to the kids again. So we spend a good 45 minutes now reading out loud in the afternoon. Again, I don't have a toddler. So it's very easy to say to everyone, sit down and we're going to read. And they color. They actually do those adult coloring books. Somebody wanted to know how much, what I consider seat work. Seat work is math. Any grammar or copy work they have to do. For my first grader, that's handwriting. And spelling for my 3rd and 5th grader is seat work. And my older daughter, her copy work. And sometimes she has questions in the boomerang. This week she's answering questions, so that's seat work. If she's doing any vocabulary activity, is seat work. So really for my first grader, it's handwriting, explode the code, and math. For my 3rd and 5th grader, it's dailygrams, spelling, copy work, and math. So that's what I consider seat work. History, science, anything we're doing beyond that, that's just usually fun stuff that we're doing and reading about, though it might involve sometimes doing like lap booking. I mean, you have to do that at a seat, but that's not really seat work, like sitting with your pencil. Somebody was very sweet and said, I always look put together. Is that because I was out and about or because I make effort? It's a combination. I do like to buy clothes and go shopping and try to put together. But really in the winter, this winter I haven't done much. I've been in sweats every day. One of the questions I get a lot is how to, and this goes with that, is how I fit in working out. Again, my youngest kid is 6, so it's looked different at different times in my life. But right now, when I get up in the morning, I get dressed to work out. I do not shower. I get dressed with the mentality that a workout will happen today. This is assuming we're not leaving the house in the morning. And I put on my sports bra, put on a t-shirt and sweats or shorts, and then throw on a sweatshirt so that I'm not freezing in the house. But I found that one of my mental stumbling blocks to working out, sadly, was having to go back upstairs and get in my sports bra and my athletic shirt and all of that. And I was just like, I would blow it off. So, Jess, you're so funny. Come over here at 10:30 when we're doing school. So the reason I sometimes look put together is because by the time I've worked out, I fit in about 30 minutes somewhere in the morning to run. And then I go shower and get ready. Then I'm kind of awake. The day is going and I enjoy getting ready. So at that point, I guess I put forth the effort. But some days I don't. If I'm not going to Periscope and I'm not going anywhere, then sometimes I don't bother with makeup or anything and just throw my sweats back on. I used to, when I had a little one, I would work out as soon as my husband walked in the door. I would be dressed and ready. I have a really hard time working out in the morning. I am a night owl. I have to fight the tendency to stay up till 2 a.m. I am trying to work on getting to bed by 10:30. Right now I'm working on 11. That's an improvement. So even if I get up and go to work out, my workouts are not as effective, I have found. Like I can get up and run in the morning, but it won't be as fast and I feel sluggish. And I know people say that helps you wake up. Just for me, it really doesn't. That's a long one. Yeah, I have a daughter who's a night owl who's up till about 10:30 every night. Now she's not allowed downstairs where I am, but she's up in her room till about 10:30. So I fought working out in the morning. Now, if I have to be somewhere and I want to get a workout in, then I will work out in the morning. But for the most part, I have a daughter who has to do, at this point, an hour of physical therapy a day for health reasons. So I try to schedule it around her and do it at the same time because she likes the company down there in the basement. So right now, what it looks like is she goes to her friend's house, which I've talked about, for study hall at 9:30. She gets back around 11, and somewhere around 11:15, she goes down to work out for an hour, and I go down at some point in there and do my half hour. So then if I have time, I'll grab a shower then before lunch. Today, my kids were hungry, so I actually fed them, and then I grabbed a shower after we did our afternoon work, and I showered right before Duck Donuts when you all saw me. So I saw someone saying their kids get up at 5. Oh my gosh. I remember when my youngest used to get up that early, and it just about sent me over the edge. Now the earliest is, in the 7s. My boys get up about 7:30 and they'll go watch TV. My alarm right now is set for 8. I'm trying to work it to 7:30 or 7:45 so that I can get some quiet time in. But it's hard. All right, I'm going through these questions here. Somebody said they like that, saying till 7:30 is school time. That just really helped my kids here just mentally to know it's school time right now and to stop doing things. I know, not before 7, Kim. You know that. Let's see. Oh, what spelling do I use? I am using All About Spelling. I actually have it right here. Let me grab it for you. Oh, here's book 1. This is for my third grader. He just started in level 1 because in 1st and 2nd grade, my kids do Explode the Code, and I just count that as spelling. They all do copy work. So technically, hello, hi, Becca. Technically, that's spelling for me, but I really like All About Spelling. That being said, I never do anything the way it says. I don't even have the magnet tiles. I mean, I have them, but like they're in a Ziploc bag in the cabinet. We just use a dry erase board to show the rule. We don't memorize the rules. I just like the word list. I like going over the words with the kids. And I do sit with my 5th grader. She is only in book 3. My middle 2 really struggle with spelling. I'm not sure there's any program on earth that will be an answer for that, but this one has been a good one. I was doing sequential spelling with my oldest, and it was great, but it was way too much for my 2nd child. I mean, she was nowhere near ready for some of the words they were starting out with. So this has been a nice one. And what I do is I have a little Post-it note in here, and I keep track of words that they can't spell, and I just kind of review them myself. So for me, it's just kind of a word list. I go over the rules. It can be really intense if you do the whole magnet tile thing and everything. Seriously, spell check. So it's not too expensive, so it works. Oh, that's good to know. Apples and pears, I don't know anything about that. I have used Wordly Wise. I have mixed feelings about Wordly Wise. To me, I have used it because I feel insecure, if you want to know the truth. I feel like, oh my goodness, I'm supposed to be doing something for vocabulary, and that lets me check the box. Then my kids started hating it, and so we stopped for 2 years, and then I kind of missed it. My oldest wanted something she could do more independently, so she now is doing Wordly Wise 7. I have never made my children do those comprehension passages. I can't imagine having to answer comprehension questions and include a certain vocabulary word. They were hard. So that being said, she's using Wordly Wise, but she never does the comprehension passages. She just skips that every time. I think that's always E. So it's like you have lesson 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E. She just skips E and goes on to the next section. But it's usually because I just feel like I need to check the vocabulary box. We're now using Marie's vocabulary words during our read aloud time, and I have them on a ring, and I'll pull them out and talk about them. Just to be a little more intentional about vocabulary, not trusting that they're just getting it through their literature. I'm sure they are. They've always done well on standardized tests, but I feel scared, and so I put them back in a workbook. Okay, see, and we've never even read them. So if it does have negative topics, I would have no idea. Let's see. We talked about working out. Lots of people had night owls. Who else asked a question here? Oh, I think I'm all caught up. Is there a question that I've missed? Yeah, Mommy Gilton. Oh my gosh. So true. So true. Okay, so have I answered everyone's questions? Is there anything else? I'll take a sip of tea. I'm looking back because I know comments were kind of flying in case I missed something. I don't think I did. So that's good. So this has been great, ladies. If there's any more questions, I still have a little time. I told myself maybe till 9:30. My little personalized mug. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's like dripped down here. I love it. Oh, okay. Welcome. Welcome, Steph. The heart's floating up. If you tap your screen with your finger, then it makes little hearts fly up. And it's just a way to give feedback to the person doing Periscope that you like what they say, or that you agree with something, or that you're just happy, or that you handed the phone to your child and they're tapping the screen like a maniac. Because that's what it means in this house a lot. So the little hearts are just kind of a way of saying, I like what I'm hearing, kind of thing. They're just kind of fun. Okay, I have some more. I missed, let me see. Do I have a curriculum post somewhere? You know, the only one I've gotten around to posting on my blog is my first grader. And so you can find that. I keep meaning to post all the other kids. So I'll add that to my list of post ideas. But my first grader is on there. Is there a certain grade you wanted to know about? I'd be happy to just tell you. I also have 3rd, 5th, and 7th going on in the house right now. So if you wanted to find that post, you would go to, the birthday freedom, sure. Notbefore7.com. And there should be a search. Oh, you're welcome, Kara. I'll see ya. There should be a search box there and just type in like first grade, or I have little menus at the top and you could hit homeschooling. I don't know which that would be under. If you type in that search like first grade, it should come up. If you have trouble finding it, my email is notbefore7@gmail.com, and just shoot me an email and I'll send you a link directly to the post. But that has my first grader on there, and I will get the other ones on there. I had a bunch of other questions fly up at that point. How do I keep a positive, your house sounds a lot like mine. Okay, except your two in the middle have sandwiched together. A positive atmosphere. I don't always, so let's just be real about that. I do try. That is the goal. It's good to have you back, Karen. I try to keep myself positive. I try to recognize when you can start to feel the tension building up, and I start to quickly ask myself, like, what's going on? How can we diffuse it? Is it you? Is it them? What does someone need right now? And try to give it to them. Today, the past few days, my first grader's just been off. I don't know what it is. So I just try to, know when to take a break. It's Tamara, right? Tamara, I don't associate you. It is. Okay. With mom to 3 kiddos. I know you're here in Raleigh, and I just want to make sure I'm associating the right people. So when he went to do his math, I didn't make him Tamara, like camera. Tamara. Okay. Tamara. Good to know. Thank you. Tamara, like a camera. That's funny. I guess you have to say that a lot. I just said, you know what, I'll do the writing and math for you. So we actually made it through like 3 or 4 exercises because of that. And then when he went to do his explode the code, his face just, like, really, I have to write? So I said, you know what, just pick 3. Come in. Hi, it's Leah. She's here to play. They're in the basement. I told him, just pick 3. There's 7 words you have to do in a day. I said, just pick 3. And we did 3. And then he did the other 4. He'll do the other 4 the next day. So I just kind of try to adjust my expectations. Sometimes I just say, you know what, guys, it's feeling a little tense in here. Let's just stop for a while and play a game. All that to say, no matter what I try that works for the elementary schoolers, there are no rules once you have a middle schooler. it has all changed. Yeah, you do your best to work with the mood, but I have found with middle schoolers that sometimes I just can't win. And I just try to keep myself sane. And that's the best I can do. And just say, you know what? This is just feeling really hard right now. You know, do you want to go work in your room? Do you want, and sending her down the street to do seat work has been a lifesaver in this house right now. It is its own beast. And there's so much going on. And I just try to remember that. Even today, I just felt like, I mean, I'm not going to go into situations, but like, I just can't win. So I just try to talk to her when it's appropriate and just say, you know, I know sometimes it's hard, and here's some things I do when I'm just feeling mad at everyone. Yeah, empathy, to try to keep things positive, and not lose my mind. That doesn't mean that sometimes I don't lose my temper and my mind, because it can be hard. But I just try to, you know, stick with what I know is going to brighten the mood. Like Julie says, sugar helps a lot. Sometimes just say, oh, guys, everyone seems to be struggling on math today. You know, let's have lemonade or let's have something. So yeah, you just got to kind of ebb and flow with middle school. Okay, positive atmosphere. Birthday freedoms. I was thinking of doing a Periscope on the, that's right, prayer and ice cream. Brilliant, Amy. I did a Periscope a while ago on the birthday freedoms we do in this house. And starting at the age 10, our children get freedoms over an area of their life. And it's kind of a way to help them progress toward 18 years old, being free to be their own person, and us recognizing that they are growing up. That's brilliant, Karen. Mine's just up too late. But we go grab Frappuccinos sometimes and things like that. Make that connection solid, because it carries you through a lot. Anyway, so they get a different freedom of an area of their life. And I explained all of this in a Periscope, and it's on my blog. And I was actually thinking of Periscoping it again, because it really is something fun that I have loved that we've done. What have I given out? So at 10, everyone gets the freedom to own nice things. I don't know what else to call it. It just means that that's the first time in our house that you're allowed to own anything that costs money and call it yours. And so far, the girls have gotten a camera for that birthday. After that, you're allowed to spend money on an iPod or something else expensive. But at that point, up until that point, it's family iPad or family computer, that kind of thing. Let's see. Then at 11, my oldest got freedom of accessories. She could now wear dangly earrings, any earrings she wanted, scarves, heels, you know, whatever kind of float her boat. Then at 12, she got freedom of money. She can now spend her money on anything that she wants, as long as she's allowed to own it in this house. Meaning she doesn't have freedom of music, so she can't buy music that I don't approve of at this point. But she's allowed to spend her money in general how she wants. And then at 13, she got freedom of food. And we took her out to the melting pot and had a really fun dinner. And that in general means that if she wants to eat something, she can eat it. She's been very respectful. That's why she got it. And I do sometimes still look at her and say, you know, you haven't had a vegetable with your lunch. You really need to think about that. Or, you know, before you have that, maybe you should at least have something a little healthier. But ultimately, you know, she makes the decision. So last night at 8:30, she was baking chocolate chip cookies. And let's see. And my second daughter has gotten freedom. What has Trisha gotten? Freedom of money. And what has Trisha gotten? Freedom of money. And what was her other one? 10, 11. Oh, yeah, she's only 11. Yeah, so just that. That was it. Oh, yeah. We don't do anything with snakes in this house. It's like a joke in this house. Like, every time I'm reading a kid's book and a snake's in it, I'm like, oh, why is there always a snake? Because I do not deal well with snakes. Oh my gosh. Okay, do you have a mother's helper or some way for you to get out of the house? I have a 13-year-old.
Oh yeah, me.
So, yeah, she's saying, oh yeah, me. That's how I get out of the house. But I did have a mother's help. I did have a babysitter and my parents when I lived in Maryland. My mom would come babysit, and one year when I was just really overwhelmed. I hired a girl to come over 3 times a week that summer for 2 hours each time during my 3rd child's nap time so I could get out. I'm a big believer in moms getting out. So mommy's helper, babysitter, family, whatever you need to do. About a year ago, I suddenly realized that people were hiring my oldest daughter to watch their kids. And I started using my oldest daughter to watch my kids a lot more. So that's how I get out these days. And I do try to meet my husband for lunch occasionally. It's been a long time since I've run errands with anyone. Let's see. When you did your book party for your daughter, did you read the whole book to plan it? Yeah. In my book clubs, you know what? That's hard, Faith. I used to live about 7 minutes from my parents. Boy, do I miss that. They now live in Florida, and I live in North Carolina. I moved first. We were all in Maryland together, and now I'm here. But timing-wise, when I moved here, my oldest was 11. So very quickly, we moved into her being able to watch the other kids. You're here in North Carolina. Where are you in North Carolina? I don't think I realized that. But I'm all for finding yourself. Oh, you're in Florida. Okay, where my parents are. I am all for finding a homeschool girl looking for some extra cash and trying to get a mom's helper 2 or 3 times a week if you can, even once a week, like every Friday afternoon. I did work that out when I needed to back in the day. I think that's really important. Back to the book clubs. I do read the books. I read my Boomerang books with my oldest daughter. I mean, she reads it on her own. I read it on my own because I can usually finish it out in 2 or 3 nights. I do read very quickly, so that has been a blessing at this point to keep up with everyone. My Arrow book clubs, I actually read them out loud to my younger 3 kids, so I'm reading them also. So I hope that answers the question. But I do read the book to plan it. I don't know how I would without that. And it can be hard to have a mom's helper. You just got to keep putting feelers out there and do what you can. Switch off with a friend. I used to do that too. I would drop my kids off at my friend Joanne's. I think Joanne and I did that for a while. And she would watch them while I got 2 hours to myself. And then the next week she would drop hers off. So you have to decide. I eventually got to a point where it wasn't worth it anymore to have everyone on the other week. Too many 3-year-olds in a house. But, you know, whatever you can work out is really, really worth it. Karen shared the idea of breakfast with her middle schooler. That's really brilliant, by the way, Karen. I don't know if I paused long enough to say that to you, but that's really brilliant. Keeping that connection is so important, I'm finding. So we will often grab Frappuccinos at some point or just go do something together. Or I will sit and ask her to show me her Instagram, and I will watch gymnastic videos for about 15 minutes, maybe 10. But whatever I can do. Let's see. What else did I miss? Oh, so people were talking about, did I have any kids with lack of control in the food area? Yes. And I want to share that with our birthday freedoms, they are not guaranteed at any age. At 10, everyone gets the freedom to own nice things. At 11 and 12 and 13 and 14 and 15, you get what you have shown responsibility in that area. And when my husband and I made the list, I will confess, we made sure there were things on it that we could give to pretty much any kid. In case we did have areas that were never going to be earned. I mean, at 18, that's what we were recognizing. I mean, between 16 and 18, you really lose a lot of that control anyway. Even if you're trying to keep it, you don't have it. As soon as a kid can get in a car and drive away from my house, I really don't have a whole lot of control of their food. So keeping that in mind, by those ages, a lot of that control is starting to transfer anyway. But no, it is not a guarantee that someone will get freedom of food at 13. I mean, that was actually really young. But my oldest is very responsible in that area and was excited about that idea. But freedom of your bedroom, that's one we joke about all the time, that no one in this house is going to earn, because freedom of your bedroom means that I can't tell you to clean it. Right, that is the point. Tamara. I want them to have some experience failing, get that stomach ache when you ate something a little too late at night and start to figure that out. And put a positive spin on it. And that's what we try to do. Like, you've shown so much responsibility here, and we're excited to help you on this path of learning to eat healthy and learning what works for your body. And keeping it really positive. Like, hey, honey, I'm noticing a lot of sugar these days. Have you thought about, some vegetables or some fruits or some dairy, that kind of thing. So just keeping it like, Daniel, honey, stop yelling for her. She's all the way upstairs. All the way up. You're going to have to go all the way up. So they're not guaranteed at any age. So if I had a kid who really was having food issues, and I know there are serious food issues out there, they wouldn't get that. And we won't make a big deal about it. We kind of joke around like, oh my gosh, Patricia, you are never getting freedom of your bedroom. Look at that place. Because that would mean I couldn't tell her to clean it anymore. But we have someone there that we're fine with, like freedom of music. I mean, I realize my kids could download nasty stuff, but again, for the most part, at 16, not really controlling what's on their radio anyway. So there are certain ones that I can give to anyone because the irresponsible decision making, the consequences are less harmful than some of the other freedoms. So you just kind of have to weigh all that in with what you're comfortable with. But that's why it has not been the same already for my kids. Okay, so yes, I think you need to know your kids. The omnivore's dilemma, interesting. I'm going to look that up. Let's see. I think I've answered everything that someone's asked. I'm looking down the list of questions. So, all right. This was fun. Before I pop off, was there anything else anyone was curious about or itching to know? Or just discuss, and I would like to discuss high school at some point. I hope some of you with high schoolers will scope and share your wisdom with us. Julie scoped the other day on unpacking unschooling for us, was very inspiring to think about. I'm not an unschooler myself. I need a little more structure, but I love some of the principles that I can adopt and recognize, and we have done that even with my daughter's very structured curriculum. Oh yeah, I was a classical Tamara, and I did CC. Oh, my son's enjoying looking at the Scoper chat and seeing all of you on there. How was my transition? It wasn't too bad. I was in classical conversations my first year homeschooling, and I loved it. And I really have nothing bad to say about the classical approach. It's genius. The trivium, I still think about that when I'm teaching my kids. I wish I did more memory work. I don't, because it just doesn't work here. So yeah, and I think for the most part, the people were pretty relaxed. At that point, my oldest was only in, you're welcome, Sarah. My oldest was only in kindergarten. So everything was relaxed. I never got into essentials or foundations. But I read Charlotte Mason somewhere around February or March of that first year, and bam, I was like, this speaks to my heart. In the same way classical did when I first found it, but I had not found anything else. Classical was the first thing I was introduced to, and it was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I was just like, yeah, that's so like it appealed to the logical side of me. It appealed to, I loved a lot about it. Like I said, I still do. But when I read Charlotte Mason, it was like it spoke to a part of my soul, and I just knew I needed to adapt what was going on. And then I think it's like everyone else. It's an ongoing process every year. I actually have pulled out my companion guide to Charlotte Mason to read again in the next month or two to refresh myself. And so then we just kind of have ebbed and flowed with the changes every semester, as it is with every kid. What Charlotte Mason books have I liked? I really like, in fact, I have it downstairs. The one with the purple cover, maybe I can bring it up here on Amazon. The Charlotte Mason Home Companion? Let me see what it's called. Charlotte Mason Companion. I think that's it. And for the children's sake, that's the other one I was going to. Oh, and here they both are up. So these are the two I've really liked. Oh, and I have Educating the Wholehearted Child too. So these are the first, this one is easily my favorite. A Charlotte Mason companion. And then for the children's sake, and someone just said Educating the Wholehearted Child. That was a Charlotte Mason book. Maybe I did. It's downstairs. I haven't read it in a while. So again, I read all that when my daughter was in kindergarten, and I read it that summer before her first grade. And I've gone back to refer to them, but that's why I would like to commit to reading them all again and just seeing how it fills the picture I have now of our family versus what it did then. And Christina, I see you hopped in here. I totally missed it. Hello, Christina. I see you now on my little Scoper chat here. Sally Clarkson. You know, people love Sally. I need to read some Sally Clarkson. I haven't. So I will admit that. I have not read anything by her. I will have to check that out. All right, I think I got all the questions that were asked so far. Have I missed anything else? Yeah, that's what I think, Tamara. I think that going back and reading it now that I've implemented things and I've changed things up and I've learned about unschooling and I've tried so many things, and now that I have a middle schooler to go back and read that, my next goals are, okay, Educating the Wholehearted Child is Sally Clarkson. Okay. But does it have like a Charlotte Mason kind of feel to it? It sounds that way. Maybe I'll read that as my first Sally Clarkson. So you're welcome, Karen. All right, so yeah, I'm going to have to read that more again and see what I can apply and do differently in the house now. But again, nothing in this house gets taken religiously. So we had 2 years where we were like nature study gurus. I mean, we had our notebooks and I bought magnifying glasses and binoculars and we studied botany. And I mean, we were out there. We lived on the Greenway, which really helped. I mean, at my home in Maryland, we could walk to the end of the street and bam, we were in the woods. We were watching the squirrels. I mean, that was amazing. And I'm so glad I took advantage of that because we haven't done any nature study this year. It's, it ebbs and flows. It's that title, homeschooling. My biggest reason for homeschooling, that's hard. Why do I continue with it is different than why I started it. So let me answer that in 2 different ways. I started it because a friend of mine in college had been homeschooled and she shared that she was homeschooled K through 3rd. And I thought, well, that's really cool. Like you kind of had your childhood a little longer. And she's like, my mom taught us how to do laundry and we just sat at the kitchen table and did school. And she painted this beautiful picture. Her mom's actually the one that gave us the birthday freedom idea. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just homeschool my kids in the early years because, I would never do it longer than that because I didn't want freaky kids. Funny how things work. And so then Maryland adopted full day kindergarten and that pushed me. I was like, all right, not doing full day kindergarten. I can homeschool this child kindergarten. And then we've just stuck with it. Why we continue with it is freedom, just in general. I cannot imagine right now having someone else dictate when I need to be home for a kid off the bus or I know, I'm good with freaky kids now. I couldn't imagine it. I couldn't imagine I'm going to visit my parents in Florida in about a week and a half. And I didn't have to ask the school. I didn't have to write a letter. I didn't have to collect makeup work. And I couldn't imagine having to do that. So that's why I do it now. Yeah, Christina, I know you've shared that too. Freedom. That is probably the reason we continue with it. It becomes such a part of our lifestyle now that I really couldn't imagine anything else. My oldest has debated going to school, and that is an option for her. But thankfully, she's not talking about it as much anymore because it would really change the entire family dynamic, having to have someone have to report to a school building. Yeah, the freedom Tamara, I agree. I mean, I can't imagine on a nice day not being able to go to the park when the kids got home from school because they had 2 hours of schoolwork to do. I mean, it's life. And if you have to do it, you have to do it. I mean, that's what it becomes. But for me, I'd rather not do it because I'm willing to figure out homeschooling high school. I'm willing to do it. And we have pulled, oh yeah. You know, and what I've heard, Faith, is having people in 2 schedules is really hard. I've heard that homeschooling, having 1 kid in school is really hard. I've had a lot of friends say either everyone goes or everyone's home. Now, I don't feel that way, but I do know it's tough. So if you're in that position, I feel you. That's hard. But you make it work. I mean, whatever your life is. What would I do if someone says they want to go to school? We had originally had a rule that no one was going to middle school because I taught middle school. And I had no desire to have my kids in that environment. That being said, I've learned to never say never. If we had stayed in Maryland, my oldest had been thinking about going to 5th grade, and we talked through it as an option, and we were definitely on the road to considering it seriously, and then we moved to Raleigh. And I told her I didn't really think that she would have had to start the school year late. I just didn't think it was a good idea. Now, even after having said no one could go to middle school, we started seriously considering it for next year for her in 8th grade. It's just that's how rough it was here. Her desire, our conflict, just everything. It was really hard. Oh, what age? 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, which tends to be like 11, 12, and 13. Maybe up to 14 because some of the kids will turn 14 in 8th grade. But in general, it's your 11, 12, and 13-year-olds. And so I was in Columbia, Maryland. Yeah, I loved it there. So yeah, I would work with my kid. And her and I were talking about her visiting some schools for 8th grade or looking into charter schools. And then the study hall idea that I shared about 2 months ago, maybe now, that she picks up all her independent work and goes down the street to do her independent work every morning, has solved everything. I haven't heard about school again. Because yeah, relational conflict is very difficult. And I would not keep a kid home if it was going to destroy a relationship. Yeah, I think it's all different. My oldest is, and I know everyone hears this and you kind of roll your eyes, my oldest is really social in a way I cannot describe. But that's why the study hall thing has worked. She picks up all her work. And while she would never go up to her bedroom and just do her schoolwork, even though she's perfectly capable of it, we are fortunate enough that her best friend lives about 9 houses down on our street. And these houses are very close together and is homeschooled. So that mom has allowed my daughter to come there at 9:30 in the morning every day with all her independent work. They are not doing the same thing. They are not studying the same topics, except one, logic. They're doing logic together. And they just sit there at the table and giggle and laugh and do their schoolwork together. So, all right, bye, Karen. It was good to see you. I know I've been talking for a while. I'm going to have to get off soon. It's changed our entire homeschool. While she's gone for that hour and a half, I have only elementary schoolers, and we read and we play, and sometimes they just go upstairs and play pretend, and I sit and drink hot tea and read a book. Oh, I will have to look at that, Tamara. Am I following you? Oh, I hate when block user comes up by accident. Oh, I am. I must have just missed it. Monday is kind of my day to be low key on scoping. Just because I need some time off each week. So Sunday and Monday, I tend to lay back. So I'll have to go watch that. And maybe she does. Gymnastics has been a big thing for her too, as a secondary place. And she also teaches at church now. She's in charge of the kindergarten and 1st graders. So we did start finding places to transfer a lot of that energy and that social and that need. But having the study hall option. And I really see her at 16 getting in her car and going to Barnes & Noble. I really think that's what school is going to look like to her, is going somewhere and maybe meeting a friend and sitting there and doing schoolwork. She's a very independent kid, but not to do it alone, if that makes any sense. She's perfectly capable of doing her independent work here in this house, anywhere she wants, but she wants to be with a friend. So it's just happened that it has worked out beautifully having the neighbor up the street. So I will watch that scope on a secondary place of belonging. I love even the title there. That works perfectly. The gap between my 13 and 11-year-old girls is just a little big right now emotionally. It'll change. They'll catch up. That's awesome, Tamara. I'll be like that when I'm in Florida. My mom will be like, spend time with me, not on the scopes. My boys do a lot together, and I can see them doing that too. But right now between the girls, you know, they get along, they have a great time together, but there definitely is a gap. So it's just worked well for her. I'm wondering, oh, Faith, you grew up in Bethesda. It is beautiful. It was just so expensive. It's one of the reasons we headed south. The Northeast was just really expensive. Oh, Shelly, I've seen yours. They are inseparable. That's great. You know, and that's why when we talk about homeschooling and we share what works in one house, we all have to take it with a grain of salt, because just because it's working for someone else does not mean it is the right way or the best way, because all of our kids, we have different dynamics. We have different kids. We ourselves are completely different. So I love sharing ideas. I love getting ideas, but then we have to look at our house and how it's going to work. So yeah, your girls are fantastic, Shelly, and they do the best scopes. I mean, the best scopes. Okay, who is asking? Oh no, someone just said, okay, no, I addressed that. All right, sorry. Wow, well, this was great, guys. This was a lot of fun. My first question and answer, thank you for all the participation. I really enjoyed it. So you're welcome. Thanks, Tamara. And Tamara, I totally want to meet up somewhere. And I really do suggest that at least the first time we do it without the kids if we can, because I feel like we could just sit there and chat for an hour or two, especially since you can't make that weekend since you're going away. So we will have to do that. And Outside Voice, I don't know if we've met. Let's see. I don't see you on this thing. Outside Voice, thank you for being here and contributing. What is your first name? If you share it, I don't know. Some people might pick their handles because they prefer to remain just Outside Voice, and that's fine. But if you do, I would love to know it, and I will do my best to try to associate it with you. It takes me a few scopes. Joanna, I think I actually said that at some point in here. I looked on my scoper thing here, and there you are, Joanna. Okay, thank you. All right, bye guys. Enjoy the replay if you watch it. I'm going to go make dinner now. It is taco night. And my ideas this week, I'm going to talk about multiplication facts tomorrow, and then maybe some more about grammar through copywork and literature later. Show another idea that we did. But we'll see. You never know where things take you. All right, bye. Thanks. Oh, I like to show something else. So I will show, I'm working on, so I will freeze on that.